watching Charter Local Edition. I'm Brad Pomerantz, and we are joined today by Dr. Michelle Yanez. She is with the San Gabriel Valley Economic Partnership, and she is Director of Education Pathways. Let's start from the beginning. What is the San Gabriel Valley Economic Partnership?
Well, first I want to say thank you for inviting me. I'm really excited to be here. The partnership is an association of primarily businesses and chambers, cities, and colleges and schools that are interested in marketing the San Gabriel Valley and keeping businesses here in the San Gabriel Valley and creating policy.
And let's talk about the San Gabriel Valley for a second.
Okay.
2 million people. Bigger than some United States.
Right.
I mean, this is a very significant region.
Exactly. It could be its own county.
It could be its own county. It could be its own state. I mean, there are several states that are smaller than 2 million people.
Yeah, it's big.
And so, you know, it's nice to see because it feels like 20, 30 years ago, the San Gabriel Valley didn't stand up for itself. You know, and it really has kind of grown into itself and come into its own. And
absolutely.
It's so beautiful. I mean, Glendora, Pasadena, Azusa. I mean, there's so much this area has to offer.
Absolutely.
Whittier, I mean.
Right.
Yeah.
And lots of education.
And let's talk about that because that is your specialty,
Right.
Doctor. What are you doing broadly, before we talk about the specifics, as Director of Education Pathways?
Okay. First of all, the partnership, this is new for them. Focusing on education and workforce development is a brand new focus. So I am the liaison between industry and education.
Kind of sounds like a dream job.
It is.
You know, for someone like yourself, a PhD.
Absolutely.
I mean,
yeah.
Really, what more could
Because
you
I've
ask
always
for?
worked with businesses, so
Right.
I'm able to bring both my passions together.
How did this happen for you?
It's just I worked on it.
Of course you did.
Yes, it was my. I just wanted to do play a role like this, and here I am. I'm able to do it.
Timing was perfect.
Perfect.
Because as we're about to tell our audience, a series of grants were being sent out for bid, I guess you could say, dealing with education and workforce development. And Pasadena City College, one of the finest community colleges in the region, if not the state, was on board. Tell us about that.
Okay, they've recently won a couple of grants, and the one that we're working on is called the AMTEL grant, which is Advanced Manufacturing, Engineering Technology, and Linked Learning.
Wow.
So they've asked us to be a partner with them, and so that's why they hired me. Our CEO, Cynthia Kurtz, she met with the dean there, Salomon Davila.
Sure.
And they had this idea of a person that could go to industry and help them with bringing speakers.
I got it, because PCC will be doing the education piece.
Yes.
But it's called Education and Workforce Development.
Yes.
And obviously you need industry ready to grab those graduates.
Absolutely, and not just grab them when they're done. I mean, early on, like come speak to them, and can we take a field trip to your industry?
Right.
Can maybe you have, take one intern? And so we want to motivate these kids, right?
So tell me more. Has the program started? Are you off and running?
It's just starting.
So tell me about what we can expect to see, and more importantly, for our viewers that may be watching, how can someone access this program? Do they need to be a PCC student? How would this work?
Okay,
if we know yet.
There are a number of different grants and different coalitions. Right now, we're on a grant specifically with PCC, and the 2 high schools that are named on that grant are Muir High School in Pasadena and South El Monte High School.
Okay.
So I'm focusing on those 2 high schools right now, but we would love to work with all the high schools because it's so awesome. It's just a great program. So if we had more grants coming down the pipeline,
and you will,
and
you'll make sure of that.
Absolutely, right? We could have one with Mount Sac, with Rio Hondo, with Citrus.
Right.
So, so what I do, I go to industry and I ask them if they could send a speaker to go, somebody that looks like them, that's an engineer.
So let's talk about that because I promise that someone is watching that could be a speaker.
Okay, great.
Yeah, so tell me, who is your ideal speaker? And I'm sure there's not just one. What's the the group of people you'd like to see to come speak to your students?
Okay, well, right now in the San Gabriel Valley, students are predominantly Latino youth.
Sure.
So it would be great if they could see a Latina or a Latino come speak to them, tell them, hey, I went to school where you went to school, right? This is how I did it. This is the pathway I took. This is the college I went to.
Let's talk about that because I'll just use my family as an example.
Okay.
So I come from Eastern European immigrants. My father's cousin was a pharmacist. So guess what my father was?
A pharmacist.
A pharmacist.
Exactly. Right.
And that's what you're describing.
Yes.
Is looking for role models. And so many of these children are either immigrants themselves or children of immigrants. So if they can
Absolutely.
see someone that looks like them, again, that's not to say I couldn't come, and
Right.
talk and energize someone
Yeah, right.
to be a journalist.
It's
but
not the same,
I get
right?
It, but I get
or
it.
if you're a girl and
Right.
a man comes to speak to you, it's a little different,
Exactly.
right?
So tell me more about that process.
So besides having speakers come speak with you and you taking a field trip,
Right.
They're also using a curriculum. Both schools are using a curriculum called Project Lead the Way.
Right.
And that curriculum is exposing them to the principles of engineering for 4 years, from 9th grade to 12th grade. So they're learning computer, maybe turning a circuit.
Coding.
Coding.
Whatever that
right?
means.
Yes, exactly, right? Programming,
Exactly.
all that great stuff. So when they're hearing industry speakers come and they look like them, and they sound like them, they thought, wow, I'm already doing that.
So in the San Gabriel Valley, and I don't know the answer to this, I really don't, who are the major industries in this space? I mean, I know we have Caltech here, obviously, so there's
we
JPL?
Have, yes, JPL.
Okay.
We have Northrop.
Northrop.
Yeah, Northrop's
okay.
a big one. And also, but we also have like the MWD. We have Upper San Gabriel.
The
have
water,
the gas company, Edison. We have a lot of big corporations that are using engineers, right? So you can, that way they have a variety of avenues.
And let's talk more about the pipeline of engineers. We know just statistically that engineers tend to be Caucasian and male. That's a generalization.
Exactly.
It's a generalization.
Right.
How can we energize? What are you doing to energize Latinos and Latinas, if I may say, as the father of two daughters? How can you work to kind of create an atmosphere whereby others feel welcome in the STEM professions?
Well, this is it.
This is it.
This is it. Just exposing them to not just speakers, but there's also like programming out there. For example, there's a nonprofit called Great Minds in STEM, and they're having a conference this year in Pasadena. And so they invite all the middle schools, the high schools, and then they showcase, Hispanic leaders in that area.
If I can, since you're a woman, can I talk more about women in STEM?
Yes.
Because it's tricky. I mean, this is not a Latina, Caucasian. This is a women issue.
Oh,
I
yes.
mean,
yes,
yeah,
I know.
And so how can we energize our daughters, 13 and 11, to realize it stems for them?
Well, first of all, I think a lot of girls don't think that they're good at math. Right? And so you always associate engineering with math. But girls are good at math, right? They just need to, right, yes, they need to be invested in.
Right.
And so, for example, at South Almani High School, they're going to separate the girls out from the boys.
So interesting.
And they're calling them the Femineers. And they're going to have a special curriculum from Cal Poly.
It's controversial, but a lot of studies suggest that if girls are separated because around that age
they will compare themselves.
The smart, being a smarty girl in math, they think that the boys won't like me.
Exactly right. Or they might compare themselves to the boys and might think they can't do it. So yeah, they're gonna have like different support. So
the region's so lucky to have you.
Great, thank
and
you.
the region's lucky to have the San Gabriel Valley Economic Partnership, and I wish you the best of luck with the AmTel grant. Please come back, and maybe you can bring a student.
Or maybe I can bring an employer that's willing to step forward and open their doors, and we can come on here together and we talk about the great things they're doing.
Her name is Dr. Michelle Yanez. She is with the San Gabriel Valley Economic Partnership. I'm Brian Pomerantz. It's Charter Local Edition.